Hi everybody, Hellcrux here, just doing a little bit of Army and Parade for my Demons of Chaos. This is the Tzeentch half of the army, so it's not very big, not a lot of stuff, as you can see here. Mostly just horrors and flamers with a few addendums to it. Back in the day when I was playing Warhammer or Fantasy, and it was the Armies of Chaos, it was throw in a few flamers of Tzeentch into my army, and that was pretty much all there was to it from the Tzeentch half of it. It was mostly Nurgle that I was tossing because due to toughness and everything. But the flamers were always handy because back in the day they had like bounding where they could bound over things, and they had the flames that they shot out. But yeah, let's just delve into what we have here. Here we have the one Lord of Change that has two heads on it. So could be a Kairos Fate Weaver back when there was a Kairos Fate Weaver in the fantasy armies. So, but it's just a Lord of Change with a two heads attached. I put them together and I green stuffed it and put scales and everything. So nice little well painted model. Lots of details. This is a fine cast model from back in the day. So that's my Lord of Change. And then there's the second Lord of Change. This is the same thing as the old Lord of Change. Pretty small when you compare them to the two together. So they're not very big from back in the day. So I painted this thing up probably about 30 years ago, somewhere in there. So that's my Lord of Change. Alright, so then, okay, here's the portaglyph. In 8th edition fantasy, they had the where you could put a portaglyph out on the table, and this was basically a portal that you could take models that you haven't had, and they could come on the table through the glyph right here. This is like a portal. So that's the portaglyph. And then we have all the heralds here. And it's like you get your Tzeentch herald. This is your basic Tzeentch herald. Here's another older version of the herald. We got that guy, and then we have a couple more heralds. These are plastic ones that came out in 8th edition, if I remember right. So I think it also, it's like they got lots of different aspects to them that are, you can see there's like blue horror aspects to them. And then you got another one here. Now these two here are, let's see here, these are Tzeentch sorcerers, or they could be a herald on a disc. There's two of them. And I put there's a little attachment on the bottom. You could throw, I do have some square bases too, with a peg system that those will go into, or in a box, one of the boxes, like one of those boxes over there. Here's the other one. So these are heralds or Tzeentch sorcerers for the Chaos Warriors of Chaos army. So very useful, multiple purposes. Yeah, and here's another one. This is a Tzeentch sorcerer. It's like chipped up a bit from way back. I don't think I primed that thing from Wayne. I got it. That was a metal one. Alright, so then we move on to core choices. You see 4 units of pink horrors. So there's a unit of 20, there's a unit of 18, and then 2 units of 15. here. So there's quite a few. This is what, 68 pink horrors. So there's a little bit of points wrapped up in pink horrors. I think they're like 12 points apiece in the game. So yeah, you could have a large force of just pink horrors going around shooting fire everywhere. Because that's the one thing, is that they're kind of like the archers of the Chaos Demons. So they're able to shoot stuff out, little fireballs. Not very strong. They're only like strength 3. I think they go 18, or like a short bow when it comes to it. But yeah, they're kind of nice. I do have one unit that's been completely painted up here. I never really did get around to. It's like I got the base pink colors down on all of them, and then I just never got ambitious enough to finish them. Maybe it was overload of how much painting it was necessary to get these done, but the idea was to get them all painted up. There's a test scheme of some of the ones I was going to do. This is going to be more of the towards the purple spectrum instead of the pink. That was probably what I was really thinking about. This was going to be the final scheme, or making 2 units of 20. I was going to have 1 unit of 20 like this one, and then another unit of 20 that's going to be the different colors, so it kind of differentiate it and go that route. So the plan was to have 3 units of 20, and then I'd have 1 unit that's kind of smaller if need be, or just three 20s, which is 20 members is kind of a nice little number. You can get a lot of fire going down. Now the one thing is that when you kill a blue or pink horror, it becomes blue horror. So they started that in the 8th edition book. So here I did pick up. I need to get another box or 2 of blue horrors, just so I can have. It's like when you kill these things off, they become the blue horrors. They can still shoot the fires the Tzeentch out, and then when the blue horrors die, then they become brimstone horrors, which are just little skirmish type troops. You could put them in your army, just buy them and have them, but most of the time it would just be easily just splitting them off. But the math, just think, if you had 60 pink horrors and they die, they become 60 blue horrors, and if those blue horrors die, then they become brimstone horrors. You can see that the kick. I understand why Games Workshop did this, because it pushes selling more models, and it can get spendy, to say the least. All right, let's move these guys over. All right, now here are the ones the models that I always used for my Warriors of Chaos, not Warriors of Chaos, the Chaos Army back in the day was I got 3 different versions of, actually 4 different versions of the Flamers of Tzeentch. So you got the old ones, which are the mushroom types. I painted these from way back in the day. So these are the mushroom type ones. Of the Flamers. And then along came the next generation, where these guys of Flamers of Tzeentch. They're sort of like the mushroom, but they do have sort of have some aspects of the pink horrors in them. So there's those. And then they came out with these metal ones, which are the kick-on effect of what's coming up next, of the 4th generation of the Flamers. So far we've been going through all metal models. Got those. And then the last ones are the plastics that came out. I think the plastic ones came out in the was it 7th or 8th edition. Now, these are plastics. They did a major overhaul into plastics with I think it was an 8th edition for the Demons Army. So you got all these. I ended up picking a bunch of them. And you can see they're on round bases because we're using them in 40K. And the difference is in fantasy, a unit of flamers is up to 6, 3 to 6. In 40K, it was 3 to 9. So there's why you see so many of these guys. Basically, I had 3 units in my 40K army, or I'd have 4 units in my fantasy army. So, not bad. They're nice little things. And I went with multiple colors, so it's like the colors of Tzeentch. You know, it's like they're constantly, like iridescently changing all the time. Kind of like chameleon style. So you can see all the colors are just changing on them from one model to the next. That's why I went that route. And then we got into the fast attack. Basically, you have the Screamers of Tzeentch. They had the old metal ones. My brother has all the metal ones now. I need to ask him about those. And these are the plastic ones. We were sharing a lot of the Tzeentch army with each other for 40K. So he has a bunch of stuff. He has all of the painted pink horrors and blue horrors and stuff that are fully painted. So kept them in his house. I hope when his house burned down, I'm not sure if they got destroyed or not. So I have to ask him. But one thing I didn't like about those plastics is that the peg system, they got this little round knob on the end of them, which sucks. And you got this little round peg hole. And it's supposed to click on it and stay. No, it's never worked. So I've thought about like snipping this off and gluing a piece of metal on the end of it, and then putting a kind of drill these holes out a little bit more and put magnets in the bottom so they would actually use it. But it was really never an issue in 40K because we just, run it around the board like that. But in fantasy, they're supposed to be on, I think, on a 40 by 40 square base. So, which someplace around here I do have the bases. But would have to go find them. Now, here's my exalted burning chariots. And I do have, here's one that hasn't been made. This is an open box. So you can make a Herald of Tzeentch, which is that one, which was, the plan was to actually make a Herald. I did have several I've done and painted up, but my brother hasn't had them, so I got left with the burning chariots. So I still want to make this one into a Herald on a burning chariot, so, for the army. And then I have the 3 burning chariots here, the standard version, to go out and about. So I think those are 150 points a piece. They're fairly spendy when it comes to chariots. And they get around the board pretty quickly, and they can shoot fire. And they're like flamethrowers on steroids. Oh yeah, it's like, here's my Demon Prince. This is an Ultra Forge model. He has a, I think that was, what's his name? Nagash's sword. There's a plastic sword from Nagash. I put that on him. So now he used to have the pommel on the bottom was there, but it's broke off and it's in one of the boxes over there. Well, this is my Tzeentch Demon Prince for the army. Kind of nice little model. And then this is, I told you in one of the previous videos, I have a soul grinder. This is my Tzeentch soul grinder. Oh, this guy, he's got all the blues and stuff to represent Tzeentch. Could possibly be used for Slaanesh also if I wanted to, or it could just be a soul grinder without a mark, you know, go that route. But that's pretty much it. That's the army of Tzeentch I have for my Warhammer fantasy army. And if I'm going to ever use these guys, I definitely need to print out some movement trays that you can put these little bases in, you know, so they'll sit in there. And the other problem is with these guys is that so many of them are so top heavy. Unless you put like a washer on the bottom or something, they'll just like plunk, fall over real easy. So a lot of them it's like, well, they've fallen off, but some of these I put pennies on the bottom of them, just add some weight, or else like that they just top heavy and they just plunk, fall over. So they'll need some weights put on the bottom of them. You know, a penny is pretty cheap weight for the holding down the base. And where is it at? This one here. Even with a washer, this guy, I threw a rock on him just to weigh him down, or else he just falls over, even with the washer on the bottom. So that's one thing I'm going to do, is eventually make out some movement trays, so I don't have to worry about rebasing almost 70 models plus, and then make some smaller single 6 wide flamer chair bases for these guys for movement trays to get them around. So that'd be the easiest thing to do. Alright, so that's it. That's everything in the Tzeentch army. That eventually I might get around and start painting on these and finish this army out. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.